Okay, so in the bowl of our food processor, we've got our flour, sugar, salt, and half a pound or 2 sticks of butter that's cut up into like tablespoon sizes. We're going to pulse just these dry ingredients enough so that the butter is blended in and will be about the size of peas. Doesn't take long. And I'm pretty sure this looks pretty good. Yep, they're about the size of peas, so that was like maybe 6 pulses. I'm going to put the lid back on, and in my measuring cup I have 1 egg and 3 tablespoons of milk, and I'm going to add that and pulse it until it forms into a ball. And that's done. So I'll wrap that in plastic wrap and chill it in the refrigerator for about an hour. Now over on the countertop here, I have just a plain old dish towel which has flour rubbed into it and a rolling pin with, thanks Matt, with flour rubbed on that. After my dough is chilled, I'm going to divide it in half because this is enough to make 2 pie crusts or 1 bottom crust and 1 top crust. And I'm just going to lightly flatten it out on my floured cloth, and starting from the middle, roll once in all 4 directions with equal pressure. If the dough begins to stick to your rolling pin, you can always add a little bit more flour to your rolling pin by just dusting it, like so. And I want to roll this out so that it ends up a circle, which is about 1.5 inches to 2 inches larger than your pie pan, which is inverted. Looks pretty good, about 1.5 inches or 2, and if it's not exactly perfectly round, that's not a problem. Next step is to take our rolling pin, lay it at the end of the cloth in the pie crust, and just lightly roll the pie crust onto your rolling pin. Then lift the whole thing, lower it into your pie pan, and unroll it. Take your crust and lower it into the bottom of the pie pan, and then you're going to take the edge of your crust and roll it tightly until it hits the rim of the pan. Again, if you need a little bit more flour on your hands, just grab a little bit more flour, and you do that around the entire pie rim. If you were making a 2-crusted pie, you would not do this at this point. You would fill yours with your filling, put the top on, and then roll both of the crusts together. It's important that you actually seal this to the edge of your pie pan. And on the short side, where I ended up with just not quite enough dough, you can kind of see how I just squeezed it around. Next up, I want to show you how to flute your pie crust. And I actually have 2 methods that I'm going to show you. The first one, you're going to, on the outside of the pie pan, use your index finger and your thumb to pinch them together with the index finger on the inside of the pie crust, and you're going to push down so that you want a very exaggerated V. As it bakes, it will soften out, and the function of this index finger here is to seal it to the pie crust, and you'll just continue all the way around the circumference of your pie pan, pressing down so that this seals it to the rim. The second technique that I'm going to show you is a little bit different than this. So you can kind of see how that looks. Thanks, Matt. Okay, so this one, we're going to just use the index finger and thumb. And this is going to create kind of like a rope-like fluted edge, where with my thumb I grab some pie crust, and you can kind of see how I'm working clockwise, whereas on the other one I tended to work counterclockwise. So where my thumb had been, on the next one, that's where my knuckle's going to go, my index finger and knuckle. And again, the function of this is to actually press and seal the crust to the rim of the pie pan. And that should be about it. Voila, both pie crusts done.